God wins, the devil loses. But even if that wasn't predetermined, then you would not want to be fighting on the side of the devil, who severely punishes his own agents. It's very, very sad. When you fight for God, the effort that you put forth is what matters, not the result, because God provides the result, because God fights for you. You show your free will, which is to fight for God, and then God provides the victory with minimal effort on your part, honestly. And if you side with the devil, first of all, you're stupid because the devil loses. But let's take that out of the equation. The devil severely punishes his own people, his own demons, when they fail. And they usually do fail because God wins. So in the end, just all the demons and all the human sellouts end up being punished and then in hell. And they end up even worse. It's very sad. One thing that the devil will do is sacrifice his own people when they fail. If they have a high-level mission, like to take out a chosen one, they have many human bodies which are narcissists, or even humans that are possessed or oppressed or influenced, and they work for the cabal or they work for the devil. When they fail at their mission to take out a chosen one, then they have to sacrifice one of their own. And this is very sad. And the narcissist will actually blame you for this. So they fail at defeating you. You don't want to be killed, so you don't let them destroy you. And then one of their people gets killed, and then they blame you for it. So I actually have noticed how this took place. The old house in Reynoldsburg that I used to live at, the one with the demonic gateway, the one that I bought with the narcissist, and he ultimately decided, let's buy it. And there's some very interesting gematria for my home. Anyways, I made a separate video about that. But the next door neighbor, who either moved in right before we did or moved in right after we did, it could have been right after, she was supposed to be a good friend for me, but we were never friends. So she was cute, she was short, she was like Asian, maybe Southeast Asian, I don't know, American, but you know, like her parents would have been from some place like that. So because I studied like the Japanese language, then she would have looked like a good friend for me. And she was about my age, she was my height. You know, we actually look kind of similar, but she was Asian and I'm not, obviously. But for all intents and purposes, people would have assumed we would be fast friends, getting along well, a lot in common. But that was not the case. When I'd see her outside, I'd always run away. Like, not run away, but like I'd try to avoid talking and stuff. Or I'd go in the house. And there were many reasons for this. But one thing is, when I moved in, I had a lot to do, and I had young kids, and I just didn't really want to be bothered by the neighbors. Like, I only had so much time to like go outside, and then I had to go back in and do something else, so I just try to like generally avoid small talk, because I didn't like to small talk. And for some reason, I just never, like, she looked like the type of person that would have been a great friend for me, but we just never became friends. And even before I started running away from her, we just didn't really talk. So she was not successful at that, but I think she would spy on me otherwise, making sure certain people didn't come to the house, or who came when, and, you know, just monitoring that type of thing that goes on outside in the yard, from what she could see. And her hours were odd, so. Now, after I moved out, or when I was in the process of moving, I heard that she was getting sick, and after I moved out and I didn't come back, I heard that she had died. She had terminal cancer and had died. Now, she looked perfectly healthy before then, and I even saw her out while I was moving things to my van. But after I left, and moved to my new city, then she died right away. And I didn't know this. She just looked like how she always did. I mean, I didn't see her a lot, but she didn't look sick. And then another thing that was suspicious about this is there was like maybe her brother. There was a man that I hadn't seen before. And he was larger, but he looked like her brother because the age was about the same, and he looked like he was related to her. And I saw him, so I was at the house picking the rest of my stuff up at my old house, and the narcissist was there just complaining and yelling at me. And then right next door, the guy comes out, and he was not there while I lived there. And he did look like my neighbor's brother. That's what I would assume. And he came out, and he looked at the narcissist, my ex-narc, and they acknowledged each other, and I don't know if he smiled or winked or something like that. Just the way they looked at each other, he acknowledged my ex-narcissist like they were working together. And then my ex-narc was like, and you don't care, and I know you don't care, but you know that neighbor that we had, they lived right next door, she's dying of cancer. And then like he, or either my daughter or him like called later and said, and she just died of cancer. But then the last time I was at the house, it looked like her brother came out and was working together with my ex-narc and had taken care of her. So what I thought actually for a while, after the narcissist left and I was still staying at the house, was that she was brought in to spy on me and was supposed to be a close friend. But that did not happen. And it should have. She would have been a good friend for me, but for some reason I just never, I never wanted to talk to her or to be friendly with her, so maybe instinctively I knew her motives were not what they appeared to be. Like, perhaps she was working for the kingdom of darkness, willingly or unwillingly. And then right after I left, that's when she dies of cancer. No, they failed at their mission. I got away, and she was sacrificed. It's exactly what it looked like, because when her brother was there, why would he, like, come outside of his house while I'm outside, right in front of my house with my ex-narc? He walks up, he's about 7 feet away from my ex-narc, and he looks at him, and he, like, kind of smiles or winks. Like they're working together. And then, she's apparently dying at that point, but not dead yet, and then she's dead next. He didn't look very sad that she was dying. And they were obviously related. It was the same type of Southeast Asian, which isn't super common. Now, I believe she was taken out. She failed to complete her mission, which was to spy on me, to take me out, to do something that would lead to my downfall. And she provided very little. They probably even bought her this house. That's just the honest truth. I don't mean to read anyone else's mail, but some of her mail had been put in my mailbox, and at the time, like, I had a bunch of mail, so I just ripped them all open and looked, and she wasn't in the best financial situation, I'll say that. So there could be reasons why she would have done work for the dark side. Anyways, the final meeting with my ex-narcissist and his family, I was very surprised to see. I was very surprised to see his mom, who was normally about like 180. She was so skinny, had shrunk down. She looked like 120. She had lost a massive amount of weight. So possibly she is dying as well. And she was like the boss. So I'm thinking that their attempt to destroy me after the neighbor had died also failed, and she was being targeted next. She did not look good. It wasn't just skinny, she didn't look healthy. So possibly she now has terminal cancer. It won't last long. And I don't want these people to die. That's not what I want. This makes me sad. I want everyone to repent and have a chance and not to go to hell. Even if they've done nasty things to me, I'd want them to repent. But she didn't look good. And probably the narcissist and all them, what they do is they blame me. Because I wasn't destroyed, it's my fault that their friend or their ally gets killed. And they blame me for this. And when they keep doubling down, there's going to be more deaths. Because when they can't provide their prime, when they can't provide me up on a platter as a sacrifice, they can't take me out, then the devil requires a substitute, which is one of their own. So it looks like the leader, which is Momnarch, is going down next if they don't take me out. And she actually suggested that her son not meet with me again, and I know why. I could cast them out, but I don't. Now, they'd probably be back if it's a clone body, if there's no human soul in it. But they would leave right then, and other people would see. That also complicates things a little, because you can't have any ego in it, and if possibly, like, other people could see, and you consider this, then it could affect the exorcism. So, it's not something you want to do for show. But what's the point of it other than that? Because they're going to be right back if they have authority, and they're allowed to be in that body. So the Momnarch looked very bad. She looked very unhealthy. And I'm not saying she looked unattractive. She looked the same level of attractiveness, but it was the type of gaughtness that made it look like she was terminally ill. Or was being poisoned. Maybe her own venom was poisoning herself, because I did notice the Jezebel spirit in her several years before. I'm really noticing spirits now, but honestly, all throughout these years I've noticed things. And a couple years before, like, I saw Jezebel manifest in her, and this is before I could see in the spirit. And I noticed it, and then I didn't say anything, and I continued. It was like Thanksgiving or something. So, she did look a lot healthier when she had more weight on. And so they were all standing there, or they were all sitting around me, like blaming me for everything and trying to give me, like, pennies for the house. And I just calmly said, no, I want this amount. And I called them out for what they did, and they chased me off the property. But I was actually sad. I was actually sad to see his mom in such a bad state, even though she tried so hard to, like, upset me. I don't want her to shrink away and die. And I know this would be the next sacrifice. This is what's going to happen to them. And they could have repented. They could have joined the side of God. And there's going to be more. They're going to drop dead. If they don't provide those sacrifices, they will be the sacrifice. And look at Hollywood. Look at politicians. How many famous people lose a best friend, or brother, or a child, or a parent? They have to provide, they have to offer that sacrifice. And if they're unwilling to offer one of their family members, their loved ones, then they are offered up. And some of them do this. That would be the most honorable thing to do, and I respect that. If they've joined the kingdom of darkness, and the kingdom of darkness requires a sacrifice, and so they don't allow their family to be killed and they offer themselves up as a martyr, then hopefully they do have a place in heaven. This is what happens. Don't join the dark side. Nothing good will come of it. They're weak and cowardly, and they hurt each other. They're not loyal. God builds us up and gives us creativity and gifts and blessings without measure. God is perfect and loving and caring and has limitless empathy, and the devil is the opposite. No empathy, only cares about himself, egotistical, and will throw his own people away. And that ultimately, like, is how they lose.